Hello. I'll just wait a couple seconds to see if anyone's going to come on. I did post about this earlier. I'm sitting outside, so hopefully we don't get too much background noise. But today I just wanted to talk about the 10 oils in the Home Essentials kit and how I use them in my spiritual practice. These 10 oils are often, some of them are associated with spiritual kind of stuff, but most often they're associated with health and wellness. So I just wanted to share how we can also be using these in a different way. So I, of course, use the oils for our health, our wellness, for digestion, immunity, lots of other things. Sorry, I've just got things popping up on my screen. But I wanted to share mostly I use them in a way that is more of a spiritual practice. So I'm just going to fix my phone up here. So I'm going to go through these 10 oils and how I use them, and then I would just invite you to tune into what feels best for you to use them. Sometimes I go by the book, other times I go by really just how I intuitively feel when I'm using the oils, and there's lots of different ways. The more you start to tune in, the more you will connect with them. So I'll start with lavender, because for those of you who read my post the other day, lavender was one of the oils that came up around a lot of stuff that, from the comments, it seems a lot of people are experiencing around, I guess, the grief of losing people that are close to us when we're on this path. So lavender in the Emotions and Essential Oils book is the oil of communication. So I'll often use this oil on my throat chakra. I didn't before I jumped on here today, probably should have. But usually before I do a class, like any workshops or anything, I normally put some lavender on. So it's definitely can be used in that way for clear expression. But what I tuned into the other day with lavender, this car going past, sorry. So what I tuned into the other day with lavender on this post, and why this was the oil that came up, was really how amazing it is at soothing our emotions and soothing things that come up, not in a way that suppresses it, but in a way that just helps it feel like it's more manageable to deal with. Sometimes when we have big stuff coming up, lavender can just be a really amazing oil to use just to help soothe the emotions and just soothe some of that pain that is coming up for us. So lavender is one of our most favorite oils in our house. It gets used all the time, not just for sleep, but if ever we've been out in the sun and got some sunburn, and there's so many amazing uses that we can use for lavender just on our body. But to start working with it for its emotional benefits, it's a really, really powerful oil. And one thing I just wanted to mention too before I go on is how they work, I guess, on an emotional and spiritual level. So on an emotional level, when we smell them, it takes about 4 seconds to get back to our limbic brain and start having an impact on our emotions. On a more spiritual level, every oil has a frequency. It has its own frequency, and obviously the better quality the oil, the higher the vibration, the higher the frequency is going to be of that oil. And this is why I was guided to doTERRA, because I honestly believe these are the highest vibrational oils that we have on the planet. They're so amazing because of their purity and their potency. And so I shared a post for those who I'm friends with on Facebook the other day about the different hertz frequencies of different oils. So lavender and peppermint were up there in some of the top oils. Now I've got a plane going over. I hope that's not too noisy. It's just so much nicer out here than sitting inside. Along with oils, obviously, like rose and helichrysum and other really beautiful high vibrational oils. So what happens is when we use these oils on our body or in any way, basically we are attuning to the frequency of this oil. So anything that is out of alignment with that frequency, meaning any lower vibrational stuff, is going to come up into our awareness so that we can deal with it. So we obviously have a choice. When that happens, we can choose to suppress it. And it'll just get pushed back down and we'll keep getting the same triggers and we'll keep getting the same stuff happening. Or we can choose to sit with it and feel it and really process what is going on. So using the oils that's what it helps us to do, rather than the oils aren't magic and they're not going to take our stuff away from us, but what they will do, they'll bring everything that is out of alignment with the vibrational frequency that we're working with and bring it into our awareness in a way that's really quite gentle, but still in, it's very clear, I find. I find it very clear that I know what it is that I'm working with when I am using the oils. So, tea tree is another one of my favorites to use in this way. And I can't remember what it is in the book. It's something around, energetic boundaries, I think it is. And really that is how I mostly use tea tree. It is known for, or good for, I should say, whenever we're in any kind of power struggle with someone, whether that be in a relationship or a friendship or family, I find this is really amazing. It's amazing for any kind of codependencies in relationships, and that can even be with children or anything. What tea tree will do, or melaleuca, depending on where you are in the world, is allow the relationship to come into its highest expression. Now that may mean in some cases the relationship may end, but that's generally not the case. Most times it'll just allow all of the stuff, all of the low vibrational stuff that is happening between people to be cleared out, and any kind of vampire-like draining of energy tendencies, tea tree is amazing for that. So one, to diffuse in the home, when people come over that you struggle being around or anything like that. Tea tree is a really great one to have because it just really helps create some clear energy around you. And the other oil that's really good for this as well, which I use in a similar way but it's not identical, it's On Guard. So On Guard is like amazing for immunity and all of this stuff. I recommend every household needs On Guard. It's just so amazing. But to use it in a spiritual sense, it's called the protective blend. So it's, protective on a physical level, but also on a spiritual level. It is literally helping us to set up a protective layer around ourselves. Now, I should note here, I think it's really important, my belief is the intention that we come to the oils with is something that, when you're using it, you'll amplify that. So if you come to use On Guard with the intention of really setting up some clear protection around yourself and have that intent, then that is what the oil will amplify. Yes, you'll still get the benefits of immunity and all of that stuff, but ultimately when we set an intention and we hold that intent, that's really what the oil is going to be working with us on that level. So On Guard is one often I'll put on my solar plexus chakra. That's kind of the center of our, it's like if we go out into a shopping center or a big crowded group of people, if anyone's going to suck our energy, generally it comes from our solar plexus chakra. So I will often put it on there when I'm going out and about. I struggle being in shopping centres. Shopping centres are just, I don't know, I just find the energy in them so overbearing because mostly it's not a nice vibe in them. So as much as I can when I remember, On Guard is one that I will put on my solar plexus. And again, it can just be one if you're going to be around energies that you know you don't vibe with as well as you would like, then On Guard is another really good one for that. Next, okay, peppermint. So I was saying before as well, so peppermint is one of the really high frequency oils, and so it has so many amazing uses. For those who are already using doTERRA and are aware of the Modern Essentials app or book, you'll see just the amazing list. It's like lavender, just so many different things that we can use this oil for. For me, with peppermint, I tend to use it, so it's called the oil of the buoyant heart. So I find peppermint is super uplifting. It's really one of those oils when you're feeling a bit flat, it can really help to lift you up. And when you I often will put peppermint on my heart chakra. If you've got sensitive skin, it's one of those oils that has that weird, feels like it's burning but cooling sensation. So dilute it if that is a problem for you. But I tend to just use all my oils straight, just because it's easy. I'm a convenience person. So I'll put it onto my heart chakra, and it just really allows, when you're feeling a bit flat, I think it's just a really amazing pick-me-up. Feel free to, if anyone has any questions, I'll try and keep an eye on the thread. If anyone has any questions, sometimes I find I don't see them until after I have finished the live, but if you have any, please feel free to put them in the comments, and if they pop up, I will attempt to answer them. So peppermint, one of the things in the book that it does say is that it is an oil, when you're using it in this way for lifting you up when you're feeling a bit depressed, that it is an oil that some people can become a bit reliant on, like rather than actually dealing with what is coming up, they keep suppressing it, and keep using peppermint to lift them back up, keep using peppermint to lift them back up. So it can be a bit of a cycle. So that's why I said earlier, you obviously have a choice. When things are coming up, you can choose to suppress it. That's obviously not in your highest good or benefit. But when you choose to actually sit with it and process it, then peppermint can have an amazing ability to really help just lift that energy and any heaviness that's kind of in your heart, to just feel clearer, and used in conjunction with a couple of the other oils as well, like frankincense or something, for example, can really help to get some real clarity around what's going on. So I'll talk about frankincense in a second. What else? So oregano. So oregano is the oil of humility and non-attachment, which is something I really value in people, is humility. And so I think it's a really beautiful oil to work with. And when I first got these oils, I didn't really think, I was like, what the hell am I going to use oregano for? I didn't really know. And through the Modern Essentials app, I found that it's amazing for warts. So Justin had a wart on his elbow, which got rid of it completely, I think. I always say this is the oil that converted him into being a believer that these oils actually work, because it's a very tangible outcome. When you see on someone's body that there was a wart there, then all of a sudden it's gone, and the only thing you've used is some oil. So the other thing that I always found very interesting, and I'll laugh if he watches this, but I doubt he will because he hears me ramble on about all of this stuff all the time. Hang on. Is that in this book, so before using oregano oil, he was very essential oils are for girls, was his belief basically. And so when he, from no pressure from me, started using it, soon after he started becoming very open to other oils. I'm doing a video. Yes, quickly. I'm on my phone. It's right here in front of me, so you just have to wait. So he used that. And so oregano, the oil of humility and non-attachment, also talks about letting go of rigid beliefs. So I find it very ironic that after using this oil, he all of a sudden let go of some of those beliefs about oils being for girls and started being open to using other oils. So I find oregano, excuse me a second, yes, Piper?
Why can't you just hold your phone?
Because it's easier just to sit it on here. Here, fine, you take the computer. I'm getting in trouble because I'm using the computer to hold my phone up. There you go. All right. Let me find something else to rest this on. Okay. How to use the oregano for what? Oh. Hi, Nick. So we just used it neat, straight on to the wart, and he just basically, sorry, I'm pulling off the chair. He basically just, put it on neat and put a Band-Aid over it and just did that every day it was gone in about 2 weeks. So with kids, I would suggest, I've also heard other people have used frankincense in conjunction with it, which basically frankincense accentuates all the other oils and makes them work faster and better. So I've heard of people putting the oregano on and then later on putting a bit of frankincense on as well. I would suggest if you're using it neat on a 12-year-old, I would put some coconut oil around the wart or wherever it is, or if you choose to, you can dilute it. I think just when it's diluted, from reports that I've heard, it's just taken longer, but it can still work. So completely up to you how you want to do that with him. So so oregano is really about letting go. That's what really, when we just, to sum it up, it's about letting go of lower vibrational energies, letting go of belief systems that aren't serving us, and really allowing us to step into that non-attachment. So not holding any beliefs that things have to be a certain way. So word of caution with oregano, don't go sticking that one on any old chakra point because that'll burn. I would use this you can either just smell it to use it for the more spiritual aspects, or maybe just stick with the feet, or otherwise definitely dilute. So oregano is a hot oil, so we don't want to just go sticking that on the heart chakra or third eye or something, because that will be painful. So digestion. So in the Home Essentials kit, hey Teresa, thanks for joining. This is for, obviously, digestion. It's for digestion. It's for helping anything to do with our belly. And on a spiritual level, when you look at anything to do with digestion, if we are not digesting well, if we're having digestive issues, it always comes back to we are not digesting life. This is literally, our body is always talking to us. Our symptoms are always showing us what is going on, whether it is a broken arm or you do something to your leg, your knees. Louise Hay's book is a really great book to use as a reference. There's a few others that you can use to look at how our bodies are speaking to us and how we can use this language that isn't a voice, it's physical, to listen to what is going on at a deeper level. So digestive issues are always related to not digesting life, being in resistance to life. So using Digest Zen, whether you can obviously use it physically as well, because if you're having digestive issues, of course, that is going to be something that you want to be doing. But also using it with the intent of, what is it in my life that I'm struggling to digest at the moment? Like, where am I feeling overwhelmed? Where am I struggling to find my center, my North Star? Like, what's going on inside of me that I feel like I'm all over the place and I'm in more of a reactive mode rather than allowing and going with the flow. So Digest Zen is the oil that you can work with for that. So where you want to put that is completely up to you. The solar plexus chakra is linked to digestion. It can also be some other lower chakra stuff going on. So root chakra, sacral chakra. You know, root is all about our security and family, our tribe, and all of those things. So depending on what it is in life that you're not digesting, you can have a look at what the different chakras are and what they relate to, and maybe work with them in that way as well. Lemon. So lemon, another amazing all-rounder oil that is just can be used for lots of different things. In the emotions book, it is actually the oil of focus, I think it's called. So it's really about, it's very much to do with the mental plane. So lemon is an oil that works on that plane. So anything to do with concentration and things like that, lemon can be really amazing for. So a good one to have diffusing when kids are doing homework, or if you're studying or have anything to do where you need some focus, then lemon oil is an amazing one to use for that. So it can also, on an emotional level, it's also works with the feelings of, like, in the emotions book, they talk about it being, you know, maybe it could be a child, where they're kind of feeling like, sorry, my hair's just annoying me, where they, you know, they think they're dumb or they don't learn well. That could just, whether they do or not is irrelevant. It could just be a belief that they hold or you hold. Then lemon is an oil that you can work with to help shift that. What was an energy? Thanks, Narissa. Yeah, this is what lights me up. I will gladly do classes about this till the cows come home. So anyone wants to host a class talking about this, I will be more than happy to do that. This is definitely what is my passion. I love using the oils in a health and wellness way, of course, because that's how we use them so much for that. But ultimately, this is what lights me up. So thank you. I would be very happy to take up that. Yes, so lemon is really good for, loving all those hearts. Thank you. Lemon is really good for anything to do with that. Any of those beliefs that aren't really serving us, or especially in children. I see in children, unfortunately, with the school system the way it is and the competition and things like that are happening, we can create these beliefs very early on in life that we're not good enough, or I'm not smart enough because I'm not, getting 10 out of 10 on my spelling test or whatever it is. So lemon is a really great oil for kids to work with if they're struggling with that. Easy Air, or if you are an international friend, you would know it as Breathe. And just like the name suggests, it is the respiratory blend. So it's really about how we are taking in life as well. So Breathe is, or Easy Air is an oil that is really great to use when you are perhaps in grief or really just struggling to, or you're feeling a bit suffocated by life. So anything to do with that feeling of like on your chest, and it's like you may not be literally feeling like I can't breathe, but you're just so overwhelmed, and there's so many things going on that there's just that thought process of like, oh, I can't even breathe, like I'm so busy. Being busy is a story that we tell ourselves, but when using an oil like this, especially on the chest, that's where I would suggest working with it, and also just breathing it in, is really going to help to bring up what those stories are that we're telling ourselves as to why we are feeling the way that we're feeling. And if it's more to do with grief, it can just bring up where that grief is coming from. If you don't know, sometimes you don't know with grief, it can just come from nowhere. If it is something that is more apparent, like you've recently lost someone or you've left a relationship or something like that, it can still help to really identify what needs to be healed, what still needs to be processed, what is it that you're feeling so suffocated by at this time. So that's a really amazing oil for that. Ice blue, or again for my international friends, deep blue, you would know it as. So this is the oil for like muscle pain and joints and things like that. So on a more spiritual level though, it is helping us to process the emotions behind the pain. So when, again, our bodies are always speaking to us. So when we have physical pain in our bodies are trying to talk to us. It's trying to say something is not right. Something needs to be processed. It could be from this lifetime. It could be from past lives if you're open to believing in that. So we carry a lot of stuff, and the more I delve into this, the more I realize how little niggly things in our body, how much they are related to things that have happened in other lives, which is pretty amazing. So this is more for, yes, you can use it for the physical pain, definitely. I would definitely recommend that for any, pains that are happening in the body. Ice blue is amazing. But it will, when we come to it with the intent of like, what's actually going on behind this? Like, why am I carrying this pain in the first place? And sometimes it's just, there's always a secondary benefit to our pain that we often don't want to acknowledge. And sometimes that can be we get out of doing the housework, or we get out of going places or doing things that we don't want to do, and we can kind of use the pain as a bit of a crutch. So anything like that, we can start to have awareness around how we're using this pain for our benefit. And we can also start to identify how or what else may be lingering underneath this pain as to what is what's really causing it, because everything happens on an energetic level first. If it's come into the physical, into our physical body or our physical world, it has first come from the energetic world. And by the time it's manifested into the physical, it's generally because we've really bought into whatever that is. And that's good and bad. So it's the same when we manifest something good. It's because it's been a thought, it's been an idea, and we manifest that into the world by holding that intent. So that can work for our highest good, and it can work on more lower vibrational stuff as well. So something just to remember, taking self-responsibility for everything we create in our lives. More cars, sorry. This is an oil that will help us to get to the bottom of those stories we might be telling ourselves. So I've saved the best till last. Frankie Boy, as he is affectionately known in doTERRA circles, is one of the most high vibrational oils that you can work with. And frankincense, so I found it interesting to, when I first started learning more about the oils, and I'm not a religious person, but I do know the story of the three wise men and the gifts that they brought to baby Jesus, and one of them was frankincense, one of them was myrrh, and then there was gold, which are all three very high vibrational things. Frankincense represents the masculine energy, and I'll go into more of that in a second. Myrrh represents the feminine. So the myrrh is very much about the mother, healing the mother line and all of that through your lineage. And myrrh's one I use on the womb a lot. It's something that is super powerful for healing anything to do with mothers above and ourselves as mothers, whether we have children or not. We're always creating something, whether that is a being or it is a creative project. We still create through our womb. So myrrh is a really beautiful feminine oil that we can use for that. But I digress. Frankincense. So frankincense is the masculine. So this is an oil that is amazing for allowing us to connect to that higher power. And this is not to say that higher power is a male. It's just that this is an energy that allows us to open up to that source energy. And the other thing that it is really amazing for, and it comes with a bit of a warning, but trust me, it's always for the highest good. When used on your third eye in particular, I find, frankincense lifts the veil of illusion. So it will allow us to see beyond that which we were willing to see before. It opens up the mind, but it will also, when you are in situations, let's say that before you would have not really seen the truth of what was going on, frankincense opens up to that. Anywhere where you're in that illusion, frankincense comes to lift the veil. And so things can happen very swiftly when you're using frankincense, and things can start to change in your world. But it is never, even if at the time it may feel like everything is falling apart, it's always, in my experience and to everyone who I've spoken to who uses the oils like this, it's always been in their highest good. It's always just, taking out that which is no longer in alignment with your highest good. So frankincense is one of I always say in classes that if I was asked to choose what my favorite oil was, it's like being asked to choose a favorite child. You just can't do it. But if I had to pick just one oil that was all I could have and I had to give all my other oils away, frankincense would be it. And because of this reason, not just because of all the amazing stuff it does for our physical body and wellness, but because of the way that you can work with it on the spiritual level. It is so freaking powerful, and I love this oil so dearly. Oh, thank you, Teresa. Thank you for joining me. So they are the 10 oils, and I love that when we start using the oils for their emotional and spiritual benefits, it just allows, the ability to start working with them just expands so much more, where we can get stuck into the trap of thinking, you know, oregano's only for immunity or warts and toenails and things, we can start to really start using it in a completely different way and seeing how this oil can really benefit our life. So one other oil I just wanted to quickly speak to about, because you can get this oil for free at the moment with any purchases over 200 PV. PV just stands for product value, so it's basically points. But I just wanted to share this because not only is this, so when I say if I could only choose one oil, it would be frankincense. It's a really tough choice between frankincense and Saliabelle. For my Northern Hemisphere friends, Immortelle is what you would know it as. This is the oil of spiritual insight, and not only does it have frankincense in it, so this is a blend. This has several different oils in it, but all of the oils are super high vibrational oils. If you go back to that post I did a few days ago about the different frequencies of different oils, you'll find that I'm pretty sure all of these oils are on that list as being like the highest frequency oils. It is frankincense, rose, sandalwood, helichrysum, lavender. What's the other one? There's something else, I think. Myrrh. And yes, that's it. So it's Hawaiian sandalwood too, just to be clear. So all really, really high vibrational oils. So I just wanted to share, because there's only for a couple days left. So if anyone was kicking themselves that they missed out on this promotion last month in June, I keep getting my months mixed up, then it is still available for a few more days. So this oil on its own retails at $130. Now I'll share just quickly how I use this oil. Kids are starting to scream in the background, so I better wrap this up. This is one that I use a lot on my third eye. I actually gave myself a bit of a headache the first time I used this because I got a bit excited. But using this oil, I'm just going to close this door so we just don't have to hear them fighting for a minute. I use this on my third eye, also a lot on my crown chakra. I actually did a meditation the other day for the first time where I actually put it on all 7. Normally I would put a more grounding type oil on my lower chakras, and I'll often use 7 different oils. But I thought, well, I'll just give it a crack. I felt guided to do that, and it was actually a really, really beautiful meditation. So this oil I've received lots of downloads about, which I'm not going to go into now because I'm still exploring what it means, but far out, this oil is freaking amazing. So anyone who is on the spiritual path, you've got to have this oil. I'm just telling you, just quietly, because exactly what it says, the oil of spiritual insight, it opens you up in a way that not many other things can. And so when you are, and it also puts you in a really high vibration, and obviously whenever if you do any channeling work or anything like that, you always want to be making sure you're channeling from high level beings, so beings that are working in really highest levels of light. And so when you're putting yourself into a really high vibration using oils like this, as well as your intent, and me personally, I always ask for that to be the case, then it just helps to ensure that your vibration is going to attract in the right beings that you are going to receive information from. So this is a really beautiful oil to work with on lots of different levels with any spiritual work. If you're doing any kind of energy healing or anything, I highly, highly recommend having Saliabelle in your back pocket and having it in your little toolkit, because it is an oil that is phenomenal to work with. Not to mention, it is also called the Beauty Blend, so it's really amazing for using in your moisturizer and things like that. So it's not the only way that you can work with it. So it's for fine lines and wrinkles and all sorts of things. So Kids appear to have stopped trying to kill each other, which is a bonus. But I'm still going to wrap it up here. I think I've covered everything. If there was any comments that didn't pop up in my feed, I'll come back and answer them. But thank you to everyone who joined me. I hope you've got something out of this. If you want to find out more about how you can get these oils, the 10 oils that I spoke about today, excuse me, are the oils in the Home Essentials kit, and you get those 10 oils plus a beautiful little diffuser that I just can't live without. So if you want to find out more information about that, then just send me a message and I will gladly send through some details. And if you want to take advantage of getting that free Salubel, then that ends on the 15th of June. So we just need to get into action before then. Have an amazing day. Thank you for joining me. And I might even do another one of these again soon sometime. Bye-bye.